When you're hot, and Bagwell is hot.
One of the things I loved about watching Jeff Bagwell play all those years, he was the perfect leader for a ball club. He just did it right.
Holy Toledo, what a year for Bagwell.
High drive to left field. Bagwell watches it go. And number 400 in his career.
Bagwell, top MVP candidate.
Out of here.
Start thinking about the Hall of Fame. Obviously, it's a fairly select group.
Yes, and he's here right here, the Hall of Famer, Jeff Bagwell. What's going on, big man?
How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Great to see you, man. So, wow, what's that like coming back here?
Well, I mean, it's kind of weird, man. You get in here with all these great players and stuff like that, you know, that either you've heard of, seen, or guys now that I've played with, to come back here and all of us to be together. And, you know, you hear stories and different things like that, but to get to know the people themselves is which makes it real special.
So when you were a kid growing up in Connecticut, out your way, who was your guy that you were like, okay, this is my guy?
Carl Yastrzemski was my guy. He was a guy that I looked up. I was a Red Sox fan my whole life. My dad's favorite player was Ted Williams, so mine was Carl Yastrzemski. Got here. The one guy though that really got me going when I was younger was George Brett. He scared the hell out of me. First time I ever met him.
Why is that?
I have no idea. But I saw him on a golf course. We met each other, and he's awesome. He's such a great dude, and obviously one of the best third baseman's ever played. But I don't get a chance to see Carl here. He doesn't come out here very much, but he called me before I got into the Hall of Fame, so it was cool.
So when you were playing and you start figuring out who you were, how you wanted to hit, things like that, who was the biggest influence? Who'd you take things from, and who do you think was the biggest influence on you?
Well, I was kind of always a tinkerer type thing, trying to figure it out like everybody, trying to figure out what works. Actually, the biggest thing that ever happened to me really was I asked Tony Gwynn for a bat back in 1993 or 94, and Tony wrote on the bat, he said, "Bags, keep the same stance." So he was kind of watching me tinker a little bit. So I said, okay, Tony Gwynn, best guy I've ever seen to put a barrel on a baseball. He does pretty well. He spreads out a little bit, keeps his head still. I started to do that, and then I started to get backspin on the baseball, and kind of my swing evolved from that. But that bat, which I have in my house now, really kind of transformed my career.
Wow, it's always great to have those little moments. Well, you talked about guys that are now, that you played against, that are finally starting to get into the Hall of Fame. Two guys this year, Scott Rowland and Fred McGriff. So let's split them up. Talk to me about Scott Rowland, when you first saw him, and your thoughts of him when you started playing against him.
Well, the first time I saw Scott Rowland, I believe in '95. Was that the year he won Rookie of the Year? I remember watching him, and he got to first base later in the year, and I said, listen, I know you're not going to want to talk about this. I said, but you're going to win the Rookie of the Year. I just want to let you know that you play the game the right way. I mean, Scott Rowland.
You knew right away,
he played hard. He played defense. He played hard. He ran everything out. He just was a baseball player, and about at 6'4", 225 at the time. He just did everything right. And watching him through his entire career, he never veered from that. He was always a hard-nosed player that played the game right. He valued defense, base running, and hitting. All those things, he was very impressive.
Before we get to Fred, I want to stay here because I got a thought on that too. It helps to have a manager that demands that of you too, right? I mean, Scott always had those guys. How important was that in your playing days to have those managers that demanded you to play right?
Well, I think really, man, all you're doing is trying to play the game the right way. And you do have to have managers. You have to have teammates. I think teammates even more than anything. Like Craig and I fed off each other on those kind of things where this is the way we played baseball.
Right.
Anybody that knows when you play in Philadelphia, it's a tough place to play. And the guys that they had there managing their teams from, all the way from their coaches to their manager were guys that played hard. Right. A lot of them played for the Phillies a long time ago, and this was the way to play baseball. And I love that. You can't help but love watching guys like that play baseball.
Yeah, no, it's fun time. All right, Fred McGriff. Fred used to always say to me, all I need is 30 good swings. And he was talking about 30 homers. This guy's power was incredible. It's taken him a while to get here to the Hall of Fame. Talk to me about Fred McGriff.
I mean, there's so many things to say. I think that the one thing that stands out is consistency. No matter what team he had played for his entire career, playing against him with the Braves, playing against him with Chicago, he was always a guy that it doesn't matter who was out on the mound, he was always he got his 30 swings in. I mean, we knew that he was going to get those in. But he did other things. He hit the ball the other way. He pulled the ball when he needed to pull the ball. He had power to all fields. for one, you know, the person of Freddie is incredible. He's one of them guys where you see it just makes you smile as soon as you see him. You know, well deserved to being here. It took a long time to get here, but he's here, which I'm so excited about. But he's just a consummate professional in the batter's box. Played great defense. Great teammate. I know a lot of his teammates because I played against him for so long. Everybody loves Fred McGriff and his consistency and what he's done in the postseason. Everything that he's done has been consistent and great.
I love it, man. Hey, thank you for the time. It's so cool to see guys that you played against getting in. And for you to recognize that with Scott Rowland early, man, you got a future, young man. You got a future scouting folks.
No, it's good. He deserves everything he got.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man.
All right, man.